America, Wyatt Werneth, real lifeguard with Lifeguard TV, talking about the new Baywatch movie. I had the opportunity to see it down at Miami South Beach with the world premiere red carpet, where I got to speak with all the actors, the cast, as well as the writers and the original creators of the TV show, which I grew up with. I thought that was fantastic. The first thing I want to talk about is the things that lifeguards are going to look at, and that is the accuracy of how they're performing their skill set, if you will, and all the stuff that lifeguards do as far as training. One of the things I noticed right away was no one had a whistle. Lifeguards use whistles. That is something that we use to control the crowds and get attention. Not one time did they use a whistle. I would have to say they were more reliant on their good looks and their beautiful bronze bodies. Whistles are very important to lifeguards. Another thing, in the opening scene, when Dwayne Johnson, Mitch Buchanan, notices a swimmer in distress, he jumps over the railing of the tower and runs out into the water, makes a magnificent dive off of the jetty, but he does not have fins. That is something that we will not go in the water without, is a flotation device, which he did have, but he did not have fins, and he did not blow a whistle and alert the surrounding lifeguards that were on duty that this was all going on. Now, one of the most exciting aspects of it are the graphics. When Mitch Buchanan comes out of the water and he's holding the survivor that he just went after, you have Baywatch blowing up in the background, you have dolphins doing tricks, and that's really exciting. I wish that that was how it was when we came out from an assist or a rescue. It's nothing like that. So as lifeguards, we're going to take a look at this movie in a way that nobody else has or will. And you can imagine all the movies that come before that, like Ships that just came out, the cops are looking at that in a different light. Back in the day when Top Gun came out, all the people in the Navy and the pilots were looking at it. So lifeguards, we have an opportunity to really critique this movie. I personally liked it okay. I thought it was pretty neat. One of the interesting aspects of it was I got to meet the screenplay writers, and that was Mark Swift and Barry Schwartz. They actually, I think, captured some of the stuff that was kind of true to life. You know, they had some parts in there about how lifeguards are perceived by the police department and city officials as just people out on the beach having a good time and getting a tan. That's very real. We also had some parts in there where, you know, we had some conflict among the people who were competing or trying out to be lifeguards. And we also had some stuff where the administration was replacing people who had been there longer and deserved the position. I mean, a lot of this stuff I thought was brilliant. I mean, I thought the way that they wrote this in and the characters that they identified and having different specifics were a lot like some of the people that we deal with in a lifeguard environment. So A+ for that, guys. The writers, screenplayers, I think they did an awesome job with that. Now, the drama side, the stuff that we go to movies for, where there's a lot of explosions and a lot of beautiful people, that so much was, you know, that's why we go to the movies, I guess, right? There was a lot of that. Now, the characters in relation to the TV show were, I think, a way on the other side of the page. If you can imagine David Hasselhoff and Mitch Buchanan, totally different dynamics there. To say which one do you like the best, I'd leave that up to you guys. Me personally, I like David Hasselhoff. I kind of grew up with that. Mitch Buchanan is 2.0 version with Dwayne Johnson taking over. But I liked a lot of the more seriousness and the professionalism, if you will, that David Hasselhoff had, and commitment. I liked that Dwayne Johnson was a little bit more, kind of like I was when I was a lifeguard, you know, kind of a little rough around the edges. I kind of got into, you know, some conversations. I probably used curse words a little more frequent than other people. I was a little more demanding. And I did take it home with me. There's one, as you'll see in the movie, where Dwayne Johnson actually has a radio at his house and he listens to it all day long. I did that. And most of the supervisors in lifeguarding do that. So that kind of stuff was pretty neat. They weren't using a CB. They were using perhaps a VHF or a 800 trunk megahertz, and they kept referring to it to that. So that was what kind of really annoyed me about the movie. The Zac Efron character, which was Matt Brody, in the TV series, Matt Brody didn't have as a larger role, I should say. And I don't recall Matt Brody being an Olympic swimmer, and things like that were a little off color. But the Matt Brody character actually had a lot of the qualities that I've seen in stellar athletes that would come out to lifeguard. They didn't feel like they needed to take the lifeguard test. They were already qualified. They could do the job very easily. And there's a role in there where Zac Efron realizes, as Matt Brody, in a rescue, he goes in without fins, without flotation device, and that part was real, where he was struggling with one of the victims. I thought that was coming off really good, and that was actually an eye-opener for Matt Brody in the movie. So I thought that part was relayed rather well. Some of the action with the females, a lot of that was a little bit, I think, kind of on track with and about equal to the TV show. A little less of the slow motion running that you had in the original TV series. But that was kind of on track. There wasn't a whole lot. Now, as far as Pamela Anderson and her role as CJ versus Kelly, that's really tough to say. That's kind of a new generation. If you didn't know the Pamela Anderson and you're looking at it now, you would totally gravitate towards the CJ in the movie. Not a whole lot of difference in how people might go after that character. Very beautiful, blonde, very nice. However, I got to admit that I don't think that the CJ in the TV show, who went after like Kelly Slater and some other people, would have dated the little Ronnie, who was kind of an out of shape guy, kind of lost with words, kind of a computer nerd, if you will. I don't think that CJ in the TV series would have been attracted to that. So that part was interesting as well. And let's talk about John Bass' role. I was actually impressed with that because that is, I think every lifeguard organization out there has someone that's like that. The IT, the guy that's not physically capable but very devoted and dedicated. And I thought that was rather well portrayed. I thought that was really interesting. And in fact, John Bass is a comedic relief in the movie, I believe. I think without that element, it would have been too much trying to follow the path of the TV series without the humor that we actually enjoy in the 2.0 version, if you will. So John Bass had a great role. And then you had a villain that we got to sit down and interview on individual one-on-one. And the villain, who was Priyanka, she actually was one of the nicest people I ever met. So she really gets an A+ for trying to take on that role of being a villain, because when you meet her, she is so sweet and adorable that there is no way that, in the movie that she would be that kind of person. You wouldn't think she'd be able to play that. She did a really good job with that. But the overall role or the script and the way that it was written, a lot of lifeguards, we can say that, we would love to have that kind of life. We love lifeguarding as it is, lifeguards for life. And I think that, if we had that kind of action every day and we had those kind of people and the relationships, which we do have a lot of the relationships as friendship and things like that, but they really emphasized on that, which was good. But I think that it really took the what we do as lifeguards to another level. And obviously that's what movies do. They dramatize it and blow it up. So all that part of it was pretty exciting and interesting. But back to being a lifeguard in the thing, I think they probably didn't connect completely with lifeguard community with a lot of different things. Like I said, they weren't really following some of the training that we really believe in and follow, and it's part of our way of life and our job professionalism. I think they were a little off on that, but that's what movies do. But the uniforms were pretty cool. I think you might see some of the uniforms coming out in the future. I think that some of the women would probably prefer not to wear the women's uniforms, but the guys are pretty cool looking. You look like a superhero. I thought they were pretty neat. The other thing that I'll go back and talk about is you didn't see the lifeguards emphasizing a whole lot on sun protection or sunblock, and that's something that we, first we get into work, we're putting on our sunblock, or we have it on before we get to work, and we're reapplying all day. So I think a lot of that was kind of missed, and some of the stuff about, I think, swimmer safety, they didn't emphasize a lot on that. Where they missed a great opportunity to talk more about learning how to swim, swimming you're a lifeguard, sun protection, and things like that to get people prepared to the beach. And I know that it's not an educational film, but however, they had an opportunity to elaborate on the skill set and what lifeguards are all about and the beach safety. And they didn't really touch on that a whole lot. But again, it's a movie. It's a very exciting movie. there are some parts about that, and I do warn the parents about taking your family, your kids. It is R-rated, and it's a little over the top. I mean, what we were used to seeing and we thought was a little vulgar in the TV series. The TV series has got nothing on the movie. I mean, they take it way off color, but I guess some people might disagree with me on that and think that that's what makes the movie more enjoyable. And it's a lot like when the movie came out, Something About Mary. There was some shocker stuff in that. Hangover, there was some shocker. Well, there's a lot of shocker in this one, so be prepared. And parents, I do warn you. And lifeguards, it'd be exciting to hear what you guys have to say about it. If you have any comments, please reach out to us at lifeguardtv.com. Hashtag LifeguardTV as well as hashtag Baywatch, the movie. And we hope that you guys get out and you guys will enjoy the movie. And there will hopefully be a Baywatch 2. And they kind of left it open like that. It could be or it couldn't be. And I was able to talk to some of the producers. So we have no idea. But let's hope. I would like to see it come out. And if it is, hopefully they can start going after a little bit more of the things I talked about earlier about the essence of beach safety. And again, the last thing I'll close with is there is no such thing as a rip tide. It is a rip current, Baywatch. All right, guys, with that, Lifeguard Wyatt Werneth for Lifeguard TV, doing my review of the Baywatch movie. Go out and see it, enjoy it, and remember, lifeguards for life.